Shalom, shalom. First, start off by saying Barakatham, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the hopefully elect, starting with the 141,000. Shalom. Alright, so, we'll entitle this lesson, it'll be, don't get weary of doing good, you know. And, as I was watching the elders, on the elders lesson, older lesson they was doing, and one of the things, it was all three on Elder Apostle Tahar, Elder Apostle Gabar, Elder Apostle Rumlad, and they Elder Apostle, you know, Elder Apostle Tahar, he's basically saying, how like, Jake could do work for, Jake could do work, a man being his truth, ultimately he fall out he Jake, but Jake could be doing work for, such amount of years, and next thing they stop doing work, they fall out, right? They fall out, and understand that the Most High not worried about what you did, years ago, right? This the precept he was reading real fast. Now I read it, Romans 8:24. It says, "For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why do ye yet hope for it?" And that Apostle Rumla, he kind of did a lesson on this a few weeks ago. He was going, basically saying, really the only thing left here now is faith. Having faith in His knowledge, understand, having faith in His word, having faith in His truth, right? Having faith in Yahweh Shah, to understand that in due time we're going to be delivered. In due time He's going to come back and get us, and about having faith in it, right? Because Esau, they turn the narrative of everything. When you search things up, they try to block it out so you can't see the whole truth or whatnot. But this is a faith thing. It's a spiritual thing and a faith thing. You gotta have the faith. Hebrews 11 says, "Without faith, it's impossible," right? So and also the scripture that say, where there's no vision, people perish. As a precept just came to my mind as well. When we preach these, when we teach these things and preach these things, it's like we can have a vision. It's like you can envision it. It's like when your teacher used to read a story in class. You sit on the floor, she reading a story, and you can when she reads a story, you can envision, what's going on, you know what I'm saying, you have a vision of it. That's how it is with the spirit. How about SIGH&CRY? We have a vision. We see these things, right? We know through the spirit. How about SIGH&CRY having faith that these things are going to come? So we sit there and wait for it, right? Instead of as verse 25 said, but if we hope for that what we see not, we haven't seen the kingdom. Right now we talk about this that can, we're not just seeing Yahweh Shah. We're not just seeing Yahweh SIGH&CRY every day physically, right? We seeing charity. We getting signs and wonders, right? What Yahweh Shah told us. And that's those faith boosters, right? Those signs and wonders or whatnot, right? But we haven't just seen them physically, things as such, from our standpoint, right? Not in this life, right? It said, but if we see hope, if we hope for that we see not, right? Then do we with patience wait for it, right? So we gotta have patience, and that's the thing. Jake don't have the patience, right? Jake want everything to be good for him right now. Jake want everything to go right for him right now. Jake want peace right now. Jake want rest right now. We want all these things right now, but we gotta hope for. You see, we haven't seen that. We have our people been in the stress. Our people been going through it for years, for hundreds of years, right? So Jake ain't seen peace. Jake ain't seen rest. So therefore, we gotta wait and hope for it, right? Because that's all we're gonna receive in the kingdom, abundance, 100-fold, right? And it just really hit me in the spirit. I was watching, the precept, right? I'm gonna go to it, right? In Galatians, where it talks about, don't get weary of doing good, right? All right, and I'm gonna read Galatians 6. I'm gonna read 3, and then I'll see if I want to start at 1. I'm gonna start at verse 3. I'm gonna start at verse 3 and read on down, right? But like I was saying, you can't get weary of doing good. You got to keep that patience. Like I was saying, Apostle Hardy was talking about, be doing work for years and years and years, next thing they fall out, And once you fall out, hey, you give up, right? And you gave up, you quit. So the Most High not worried about what you did for those 9 years, those 3 months, those years, that year. No, we're not worried about that, right? Because the scriptures tell you, right? Matthew 24:13 real fast, right? What Yahweh shall tell them, right? I want to say it's Matthew 24:13. Yeah, right? He says, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And ultimately, right, I was meditating in the spirit before I do this lesson. Ultimately, I was thinking about how, the elect is not, the elect, we do this work, to call election sure. Right? We do this work to show our faith through our work. I always mention sports, right? The analogy of sports, because, I played college football, right, and whatnot. And one thing, my coach used to harken on a lot was practice, right? He was harking on practice a lot. And when he used to harken on practice, he used to always be like, man, your effort in practice matter. Your effort in practice matter. Because that will prepare you for the game. That will prepare you for the moments in the game, right? So then, one thing he said, right? And when people, when I see things and when I'm hearing things, I try to look at it from a spiritual standpoint. You gotta look at all things spiritual, because that fleshly way is carnal. And one thing he said, right, I mentioned that camp before, but he said, your effort level shows your interest level, right? So the effort you put in, your effort you put in behind something that you truly want, that you truly love, it shows your interest level in it. The same way Jake get out here and put time into, these jobs, these drugs, these women, all these things, the same effort they put into all these other things besides how about SIGH&CRY, it shows the interest level, what they have into the truth. They're not interested in it, right? Because they're interested in everything else around, right? For the men, how about SIGH&CRY, the 144,000, hopefully elect, right? Or the elect, and we pray we of the hopefully elect, right? We hope that we of the elect, right? That's why we call it hopefully elect, right? But, we put our effort and time in this truth, right? Because we understand ultimately the elect is not even of works. The elect is already ordained for the world's even, you can have a Jake wake up right when it's time, Elder Pastor Hart, he talked about this before. If I'm not mistaken, Elder Pastor Hart, might be one of the elders, right? But talk about how, Jake might not been, Most High knew Jake might not been, Most High might knew that the brothers might not been prepared for things that such. Losing this, losing that. So Most High waited, and he woke you up with the time being. A lot of Jake might wake up. A lot of so some of the elect might come in during the MOTB because they might not be able to overcome overcome this and that. Might be able to bear such things, right? That's why that's why you gotta understand. Man got 5 talents, man got 10 talents, things that whatnot, right? But at the end of the day, we doing this work, right? We doing this work to make our call election sure. Getting back to the title lesson, the point at hand, right? We doing this work to make our call election sure, man. Because we showing you how about SIGH&CRY, because he said it, right? In Hebrews 6, right? Let's go to it. We'll go to that precept as well, SIGH&CRY. For me just jumping around, I'm just moving through the spirit, right? What is that? Hebrews 6. Hebrews 6 and 10, right? And let's see, I started at verse 9. It says, but beloved, we are persuaded better things of you, and things that accompany salvation speak though we this. Salvation though we this speak. He says, for Yahweh is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love. This is labor of love. So the Most High is not going to forget this, right? Your labor is not in vain. The true men who really care about the true men really, and ultimately the elect only ones right now who are doing the works, because everybody else is really going off and wild out. You might have a few come in, in the latter times, more times, but at the same time, man, you really on the righteous one, because you even see now the Most High sifting, right? You see these camps going off teaching all this bullshit, teaching all these other things, right? Really, that elect can be sure, but ultimately ain't necessarily of works. But at the same time, the elect kind of the ones who out here, are really the ones who out here pushing doing that work, because they really have a care in this truth. They really love this truth. They really got a real love for Yahweh SIGH&CRY. And what's that love Yahweh SIGH&CRY? Do his commandment. What's that? 1 John, right? 1 John 5 and 3 said, for this is the love of Yahweh, that we keep his commandments and his commandments not grievous. Not saying, right? Not saying we just follow every law and commandment, because we can't keep the law of purpose, but we strive to the best of our ability, rehearsing that righteous act, right? So getting back to the where we was at in Hebrews 6, right? I read it in NLT as well. It says, for Yahweh is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have showed toward his name, and that ye have ministered to the saints, which are the Israelites, and do minister. Because ultimately, and I read down in verse 11, it says, and we desire that every one of you do shew the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end, right? It says, that you be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promise. And you know, that's the one, the elect, those heirs. They're the ones who are striving, who are pushing, beginning with the elect. They say Israelite or the heirs, but the elect, those elect, 144,000, those joint heads of Yahweh who are gonna receive that first dominion. So they the ones who established the teaching in that name, defending that name right now. Right? Let's read this in the NLT. It's lucky we don't slack you for notifications that may pop up. So you can't get weary of doing good, man. You got to do this work until the end. You can't just think that, you know, this and that, oh, you done been in this truth for a year. Because, hey, you've been in this truth for, you know, there's plenty of people who done been there for a long time. You see how long the elders in, and, you know, IUIC, you know, they always mention there was that, a lot of those people was at One West with them. And, you know, that was kind of, you know, I've been in the truth for a long time. And you see those camps going off. You see a lot of those headers, other camps going off, falling off, because that's that system. Because they're not truly in this thing, right? So let's start at Hebrews 6 and 10, right? It's like we start verse 9. Excuse me. NLT says, dear friends, even though we are talking this way, we really don't believe it applies to you. We are confident that you are meant for better things that come with salvation, right? It says, for Yahweh is not unjust. He will not forget how hard you have worked for him. You're teaching and doing his work. So don't get weary of doing good things, because your labor is not going to go in vain, man. Right? It says, and how you have shown your love to him by caring for other believers as you still do. Our great desire is that you will keep on loving others as long as life lasts, man. Don't get weary. Keep doing the works. Stay at it, man. Stay at it. Stay consistent. Build that consistency. You know, build that consistency. Build that, you know, build that discipline. That's the desire and that system to becoming a spiritual man, right? Person not with his flesh, person not with his world, because everybody else putting their effort, extra level into everything else around. We put our wholehearted time in this truth, which Yahweh said, you know, Yahweh told Peter, you know, those ones who give everything up for me, they're gonna receive 100-fold in the kingdom, right? We not entangling with the fears of this life. We not getting caught up with the fears of life. We focusing on the things above. We focus on the kingdom and righteousness, right? Doing the work and will of Yahweh, right? It says, as long as life lasts, in order to make certain that what you hope for will come true, right? Because we hope to be delivered. We hope to be saved, that hopefully elect. So you got to continue to make your call to election sure. You got to strive and push, right? You got to continue to work, continue to do it, right? Verse 12, right? It says, then you will not become spiritually dull and indifferent. Instead, you will follow the example of those who are going to inherit Yahweh's promise, was those elect. You got Yahweh, you have King David, you have the elect, man, those heirs, right? Who are going to inherit Yahweh's promise because of their faith and endurance. Yahweh's promise bring hope, man, right? Come on, man. I'm gonna read that again. Verse 12 says, then you will not become spiritually dull and indifferent. Instead, you will follow the example of those who walk in that path of Yahweh. That's the example. Those are elect. You know, let this mind be in you, who give up their own way, right? Who do the work each and every day, no matter what come with it, no matter what time, no matter what it is, we put everything else aside, do this will, do this work, right? He says, follow the example of those who are going to inherit Yahweh's promise because of their faith and endurance. Endurance is what you can do for a long time. You know how you running, they say, oh, I got long endurance, I can run for a long time. The endurance, man, slack you for that. The endurance, being able to, you know, withstand, being able to do this thing, being able to describe this thing, right? It says those who are going to inherit Yahweh's promise because of their faith and endurance. Yahweh's promise bring hope, man. So we got hope in this thing, we got faith in this thing, right? And to the end. That's why we can't get weary of doing the works, right? Let me see. I'm gonna show this precept real fast. 2 Peter 1 and 10, right? Let's go to this real fast. 2 Peter 1 and 10, right? It says, wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. But if you do these things, you shall never fall, right? So we got to do these works. You gotta teach and do the work. Stir up. Get out on highways and byways. Do the works until the end, man. Endure to the end. And within that, you can't get weary, man. It's a patient process, so you gotta endure until the end. You gotta keep going. You know. Let's go back to Galatians 6, right? We'll close out with that, Lord willing. Right? Go to Galatians 6, right? Because the reason I want to start at verse 3, because, you know, you can't start thinking that you're above. You got to be humble, man. You got to have humility. You can't start thinking that, oh, just because you had a spirit, you had knowledge, understand. Because the Most High can take that spirit from you. You know, the Most High can take that spirit from you, man. Right? And we know once the Most High take that spirit from you, as soon as the spirit can take it from you, those demons come right back. Right? And guess what? You're going to be way more off than the first, because that one demon come back, he's going to bring 7 more. Right? So you're going to have 8 demons coming on you, man. Right? So you can't think yourself just because you got this spirit, just because you teaching knowledge, just because you can't get weary of this thing. You can't get comfortable. You can't get complacent. And that's what I was going to search up. Let me see. Definition of complacent. Right? I searched up on my other phone, right, the definition of complacent spirit, right? And this is AI overview. Right, it says a complacent spirit is a state of self-satisfaction and uncritical content that leads to refusal to grow or strive for more, man. Right? So each and every day, the spirit, how about SIGH&CRY, it comes upon us, and you know, it gives us more and more each and every day to overcome and to fight this temptation, to fight against this spiritual wickedness, try to pull us down. Right? But you have those ones who I feel like they made it. You have the ones who I feel like they good. Man, you can't get weary of doing good. You gotta stay at it, man. You can't have that complacent spirit. You gotta be willing to grow in this truth each and every day, right? Because the scriptures tell you that how about SIGH&CRY, exalt you in due time, cast all your care upon Him. So you can't have that complacent spirit to feel like you already up there. You already made it. You already good. No, man, we ain't made nothing. We still in this hell. We still in this captivity. So you can't get weary of doing good, man. You gotta stay at it, right? It says in a spiritual context, it is being comfortable with one's current level of faith and practice, neglecting vigilance, spiritual disciplines, and deeper relations with Yahweh. This mindset can cause spiritual stagnation, a lack of awareness of one's spiritual deficiencies, and hinder progress, man. So you can't get satisfied, man. You can't get, we're still in this captivity. We still in you get so caught up, you ain't even doing the works, you ain't even understanding that this wisdom, knowledge, and stability of thy times, of these times to come. So studying and standing in these books every day, doing the works each and every day, that's what's going to help us prepare. That's what's getting us right for the moment to come. All right, so you got to put effort in this thing. You can't get weary of doing good. You can't get complacent, man. Consistency, right? Consistency, man. Right? So let's read this right here, close it out, Galatians 6. We're going to start at verse 3. It says, for if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself, man. He said, but let every man prove his own work. Then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone and not in another. For every man shall bear his own burden. Right? What how shall I say? I come with a reward for every man of his work, man. Revelation 22. Right? It says, let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teaches in all good things. Be not deceived, Yahweh is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. He said, for he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting, man. Right? And it's the point right here, right? It says, and let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. So we stay focused in the Spirit and do the things, how about SIGH&CRY said for us to do? Well, he said our labor is not in love, man. You're not going to forget you striving and pushing in that name. You're not going to forget you striving and contending and fighting for the name of how about SIGH&CRY. So you got to continue to do it. You can't get weary of doing good, right? It said, let us not be weary in well-doing, man. So you got to stay focused. You got to stay at it. You got to stay on it, man. You know, so Lord willing, right? Hope the lesson was edifying and exalting, right? And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the hopeful elect, start with the 144,000. Shalom.